how do we take a good brain and make it great?
Well, I love that idea. It's really three simple things. And the first thing is you have to care about it. When I first scanned myself in 1991, it wasn't good. And just the week before, I'd scanned my 60-year-old mother, and she had a gorgeous brain. And so I created brain envy. I wanted her brain. So here I am. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist. So for people that don't know what that means, so I'm a general psychiatrist and I have a specialty in kids. I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. I'm a physician. I'm highly educated and I don't care at all about my own brain, right? I love watching football on Sunday. And when I saw my brain, I'm like, ouch, this can be better. And so how do you make it better? Well, the second thing is you avoid anything that hurts it. And I have a mnemonic we can talk about called Bright Minds. It's, if you want to keep your brain healthy, you have to prevent or treat the 11 major risk factors that steal your mind. So brain envy, gotta care, avoid things that hurt it, do things that help it. And so what have we learned? That exercise boosts blood flow to the brain. Not believing every stupid thing you think calms the anxiety centers in the brain. Things like omega-3 fatty acids get your gut right, because your gut makes most of the neurotransmitters in your body. Well, the little tiny habit for brain health is before you go to make any decision, you ask yourself, is this good for my brain or bad for it? And if you love yourself, because it's never about should. As soon as you think you should do something, you won't do it, just because we're all 4 years old in our head and rebellious. It's, you answer the question in a positive way because you love yourself, because you love yourself, your wife, your life, your mission. That's why you do the right thing. Because too often people go, oh, well, I can't have this and I can't have that. And as soon as you get into that deprivation mindset, it's not going to work.
It's really interesting to me how often the answer that you push people towards, whatever their struggle is something that I'll call soft. Love comes up a lot, attachment, not being lonely, like things that you would expect a psychiatrist to give you a pill for. You've traditionally shied away from that. Obviously, it can be very profound, but that you're leading people to do maybe easier or more basic things first. What are some of the like just dead simple, easy things that people should be thinking about with protecting their brain? Because if they want to answer, I want to do something that's good for my brain, but they don't know what that is. Like, what are a few key things?
So I went to my daughter's second grade class, and I put 20 things on the board, and I went
20 things that are good for your brain.
Just
20 things.
10 of them were good, 10 of them were bad, and I'm go separate them for me. They got them all right,
really?
Except one thing:
marijuana,
orange juice.
Really? Okay.
They put it in the good category when in fact it's got way too much sugar. And whenever you unwrap sugar from its fiber source, it turns toxic in your body. And so, is this good for my brain or bad for it? Or is it good for my child's brain or bad for it? And they come to you and they want to play football. Where does that fall? It falls in the bad category. Brain is soft, about the consistency of soft butter. Your skull is really hard and it has sharp bony ridges. No, don't let them do that. And I had one billionaire, he goes, but my son really wants to do it. And I've hired this, NFL coach. And I'm like, oh, well, if he told you he really wanted to do cocaine, would you go get him a dealer? Because it's the same freaking thing. Right, because I have scanned, we have 150,000 scans on people from 120 countries, and contact sports damage the brain about the same as cocaine.
Whoa. I knew it was bad, I didn't know it was that bad.
So, and we had talked before we started about I tend to get myself in trouble. And about 10 years ago, we started the world's first and largest study on football players, on professional football players. And the level of damage is sad. But 80% of them get better when we put them on a rehabilitation program. So even if you've been bad to your brain, you can make it better, and I can prove it.
I've spoken to my audience about it before, but the thing that led me to you was massive anxiety that seemed to be getting worse by the day. And one of the things that helped me was crushing the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, and becoming a pattern interrupt and stopping that. Walk people through some of the things that aren't necessarily, because we'll get into diet, but that aren't diet related, that are really just the way that they allow themselves to think, whether it's the brain getting stuck and looping around repetitive negative things, whether it's negative thoughts that they never interrupt. Like, what are those things that really cause people problems that they may not even be aware of?
We have a brain health assessment online. People can go to brainhealthassessment.com and go, which of the 16 brain types do you have? So let me take just a step back and then I'll answer that question. Whenever I see someone, so if you came to see me, I'm always thinking about the 4 circles of your life. So I'm thinking about your biology. So with anxiety, my first thought is areas in your emotional brain just are working too hard. And so it's driving that anxiety. So what's the biology? What's the psychology, which is how do you think and the environment that you grew up in? What's the social circle? Because if you're around a lot of irritated, angry, negative people, you're more likely to be anxious. And what's the spiritual circle? Why do you care? Why you're on the planet? What's your deepest sense of meaning and purpose? So I'm always thinking bio, psycho, social, spiritual, and that way I end up helping whole people, not just, oh, you're anxious, take Xanax, because that's the quick answer. That if you go to Kaiser, for example, and I just hired a doctor from Kaiser and he saw 25 patients a day. So the 25 patient a day answer is Xanax, is let me give you a benzo. And the problem with it is once you start it, it's insidious. It changes your brain to need it in order to feel normal. And so I'm like, so how else can we quell your anxiety? So there's some simple supplements like GABA, or one of my favorites, magnesium, that can be really helpful. But the psychological one, there was one day I was at work and I saw 4 suicidal patients, and that's hard for me. And then I saw 2 couples who hated each other, and 2 teenagers who ran away from home. And so at the end of the day, I was worn out, and I came home to an ant infestation in my house. And I'm cleaning up thousands of ants, and I'm like, and then it just hit me, ant, automatic negative thoughts. My patients are infested. And the next day, I went to work with a can of ant spray. And I put it on my coffee table. And I'm like, we need to help you get rid of these things that are infesting your mind. And they liked that. It was just something they could grab onto. So here's the exercise. Whenever you feel sad or mad or nervous or out of control, I just want you to write down what you're thinking. And ask yourself if it's true. And I have a process, so I don't know, if you want, we could do it together. Pick a thought, any thought you want to share, and I'll teach you how to put a stake in it.
This is never going to work.
Okay? So here are the 5 questions. Is it true?
It certainly could be true, yeah.
But is it true?
I can't say definitively.
I don't know.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I am not a fan of positive thinking. I am not.
Interesting.
Positive thinking kills way too many people. I'm a fan of
What do you mean
accurate
it
thinking.
kills too many people? What do you mean?
So they did a study at Stanford, 1921, on 1,548 10-year-old children. And they followed them for 90 years, looking at what goes with success, health, and longevity. And it wasn't the don't worry kids. It wasn't the happy kids. In fact, the don't worry, be happy kids died the earliest from accidents and preventable illnesses. The kids who lived the longest were the conscientious kids. The kids who said they were going to show up at a certain time and they show up on time. The kids who got their homework done. The kids who were responsible who actually had a bit of anxiety, because anxiety prevents you from driving at 125 miles an hour down the freeway in the rain, right? You need some anxiety. Obviously, too much, it makes people suffer. So this isn't going to work out. Is it true? I don't know. The second question is, can you absolutely know with 100% certainty it's not going to work out?
No.
No. Third question, how do you feel when you believe the thought it's not going to work out?
Bad. Anxious. Do you feel uncomfortable, impending doom, this sense that, it's overwhelming, you don't want to look at it, you want to turn away, you want to go do things that are fun, that are just easy, immediate gratification, eating the marshmallow immediately. It's sort of all at a limbic level, it's just emotion.
And then how do you treat other people when you believe the thought?
If I were to give into it, you're going to be grumpier, grouchier, shorter with people, or just sullen and quiet.
Yeah, so is it true? I don't know. Can I absolutely know that it's true? No. How do I feel when I believe the thought? Anxious. Worse. I mean, it's fueling the thing that makes you naturally upset. Fourth question is, who would you be or how would you feel if you didn't have the thought? If you couldn't have the thought?
Certainly better, for sure. And I'm gonna start pushing you, because one, I want this to be useful in my own life, and then two, I want people listening for it to really be useful. I find that there's a certain point where the anxiety kicks over into it feeling purely biological. And what I mean by that is I can't differentiate between being cold and being anxious. They're the same physical sensation. So I'm like, am I just cold, or is this an exacerbation of the anxiety? And so one of the quotes that is just seemed so true to me in my life, and this isn't how they meant it, but this is, you'll understand in a second why it's always running so true. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So the only thing that I have to fear when it comes to public speaking is anxiety. It's like, if I didn't have to worry about the anxiety, I'm not worried about the performance or the outcome. I've done it so many times. And so before I go on stage, I have to meditate to calm everything down, to slow my breathing, to get the blood back into the right areas of my brain.
So in that situation, there's not negative thoughts that are driving you.
Right. So in the beginning, I had to learn to stop that loop from even starting by killing that initial thought, which is why that was so powerful for me.
So killing the ants it's a biological treatment too, because when you believe these negative thoughts, it changes your physiology immediately. So how would you feel if you didn't have the thought? Better, you said. So the fifth question is my favorite question. It's you take the original thought, this will not work out, and you flip it to the opposite, to the exact opposite, not the narcissistic opposite, which is I will be the best ever. So the opposite of it, this will work out. Do you have any evidence that that's true? If you're thinking about whatever the situation, and it won't work out.
Historical performance, sure.
Just like once in your life or more than once?
Depending on what we're talking about, no, it could be years of success at something.
Right. Somebody on my board just this morning, I'm dumb. And then when we switched it to I'm not dumb, she had like 50 reasons why she wasn't dumb, right? But if you don't challenge your thoughts, if you don't question your thoughts, you believe them 100%, and then you act out of the belief. So learning how to clean that up is really important. But sometimes there are remnants of anxiety that are not driven by the negative thoughts, and their diaphragmatic breathing is so important. So if I was you, and I used to be you, because before I'd speak, I'd be very nervous. And I was on the speech team in college, but I couldn't hold paper in my hand because it would shake.
Right.
It was like really irritating. And so I became masterful at diaphragmatic breathing. And it's super simple. I put people in my office on the floor, put a book on their belly, and I teach them, when you breathe in, make the book go up. When you breathe out, make it go down. The trick is big breath, take twice as long to blow it out. So it's like 3 or 4 seconds in, hold it just for a second, and then about 8 seconds out. And that triggers a parasympathetic response. So you know the difference between the fight or flight response. You have a sympathetic response where we're really anxious, our hands get cold, so that's the cold connection. They start to sweat, our muscles get tense, our breathing becomes shallow and fast, which is inefficient for the brain. And you want to run away or you want to hit something. You want to trigger the opposite. It's called a parasympathetic response, and that breathing pattern will do it. Also, holding something warm will do it as well. And for some people, they'll just put their hands under warm water. And if you could get in a sauna, that's great, or get in a hot tub. You can't do that before you speak. But
If you like that clip, check out another powerful clip right here, and I'll see you there.